There is a moment in every person's life when they must look into the mirror and decide who they are going to be. For most, that reflection is clouded by doubt. It is distorted by the opinions of others. It is fractured by past failures. They see a person who is less than the colleague who got the promotion, less than the influencer with the perfect life, less than the ghost of who they used to be, less than the expectations that society has relentlessly hammered into their psyche since the day they were born. But today, we are going to destroy that mirror. Today, we are going to shatter the illusion of inadequacy that has kept you small for far too long. The title of this video is a statement that might make some uncomfortable. Act as if you are the best. No one is better than you. It sounds arrogant, doesn't it? It sounds like ego. It sounds like the hubris that the ancient philosophers warned us about. But I am not here to teach you arrogance. I am not here to inflate your ego or turn you into a narcissist who looks down upon others. I am here to teach you the radical, unshakable truth of Stoic philosophy, a truth that has been tested in the fires of war, in the corruption of palaces, and in the quiet desperation of slaves yearning for freedom. To act as if you are the best is not a command to compare yourself to others and declare victory. It is not a competition where you must crush your rivals to prove your worth. It is a declaration of sovereignty over your own soul. It is the profound realization that in the only arena that truly matters, the arena of your own mind, your own choices, and your own moral character, you are the undisputed master. We are going to explore why this mindset is not just a motivational gimmick or a fleeting feeling of confidence, but a psychological necessity for anyone who wishes to live a life of purpose, resilience, and genuine fulfillment. We will look at the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, who wrote his most intimate thoughts while camped on the battlefields of the Danube. Epictetus, the slave who was crippled by his master, yet became one of the most influential teachers of freedom the world has ever known. And Seneca, the statesman and playwright who navigated the corrupt and dangerous courts of Nero while maintaining his intellectual integrity. We will dissect the Stoic principle of the Inner Citadel and learn how to fortify it so strongly that no external force, no insult, no failure, no tragedy can ever make you feel inferior again. By the end of this video, you will understand how to walk through life with the quiet, unbreakable confidence of a king, without the toxic arrogance of a tyrant, without the desperate need for validation, and without the crushing weight of comparison that destroys so many brilliant minds. This is Stoicism for the modern warrior, for the entrepreneur facing bankruptcy, for the artist facing rejection, for the employee facing a hostile work environment, and for anyone who has ever felt that they are not enough. This is how you act like the best, knowing that no one is truly better than you. Let's start by clearing up the biggest misconception that plagues modern self-help culture. When a Stoic says, "No one is better than you," they are not measuring wealth, status, beauty, physical strength, intelligence, or social media followers. Why? Because these are what the Stoics called externals. They are not within your complete control. They are gifts of fortune, and fortune is fickle, unreliable, and utterly indifferent to your worth as a human being. If you define being the best as having the most money, you are a slave to the economy, to market crashes, to inflation, and to the whims of your clients. If you define it as having the most followers, you are a slave to the algorithm, to trends that change overnight, and to the approval of strangers who do not know your heart. If you define it as being the most physically attractive, you are a slave to the aging process, to genetics, and to the fleeting standards of beauty that vary across cultures and eras. This is not power. This is desperation. This is a cage built of your own misplaced desires. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, drew a hard and immovable line in the sand. He said, "Some things are in our control and others not. That is the only criteria for what truly matters. That is the foundation upon which all genuine self-worth must be built." So, if being the best isn't about externals, what is it about? It is about the pursuit of virtue, which the Greeks called arete and the Romans called virtus. This does not mean moralizing or being holier than thou. It means excellence of character, the active, striving expression of your highest human potential. To act as if you are the best means to act with wisdom, which is the ability to see things as they truly are, not as you fear them to be or as you wish them to be. To act with justice, treating others fairly and with respect, not because you have to, but because it is the right thing to do for the common good, and because your own humanity is intertwined with theirs. To act with courage, the strength to face adversity, pain, criticism, and even death itself without losing your integrity or your composure. And to act with temperance, which is self-discipline, the ability to say no to your base desires, to delay gratification, and to master your appetites so that they do not master you. No one is better than you at being you. This is not a platitude, it is a logical fact. You are the only person who can inhabit your particular consciousness, make your particular choices, and live your particular life. And you are the only person who can control your moral purpose, your ruling center, what the Stoics called the hegemonikon. Think about this deeply. You cannot control if you are born with a high IQ, if you are born into a wealthy family, if you are blessed with good health, or if others like you. But you can control whether you act with integrity when temptation whispers in your ear. You can control whether you do the right thing when no one is watching and there is no reward to be gained. You can control whether you respond to provocation with patience or with rage. In the eyes of the Stoic universe, the man who acts with integrity, who governs his own soul with wisdom and justice, is the true king. The man who compromises his values for a paycheck, for social approval, or for momentary pleasure is the beggar, no matter how much money sits in his bank account. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of the most powerful empire the world had ever seen, had a profound and intimate understanding of this principle. He wrote in his private journal, which we now treasure as Meditations, a work never intended for publication but for his own self-examination. People look for retreats for themselves, in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. But this is altogether unphilosopher-like. Retreat into yourself. He calls this the Inner Citadel, a fortress of the mind that no army can storm, no emperor can command, and no fate can destroy. To act as if you are the best is to retreat into this citadel, to recognize that your true power, your true worth, and your true home lie within these walls, and no one can breach them without your explicit permission. When someone insults you, they are shouting at the walls of your citadel. Their words are projectiles that cannot reach you unless you open the gate. If you feel angry, humiliated, or diminished, it is because you have opened the gate and allowed their words to march in, burn down your peace, and enslave your emotional state. The Stoic says, "No, my mind is a fortress. I decide who enters and who remains outside. I decide which thoughts to entertain and which to dismiss." Acting as if you are the best means believing so deeply in the validity of your own moral compass, so firmly in the integrity of your own choices, that the approval or disapproval of others becomes a matter of profound indifference. We spend so much of our precious time and energy trying to prove our worth to others. We polish our resumes until they gleam. We curate our photos until they are flawless. We flaunt our possessions as if they were medals of honor, and we obsess over our reputations as if they were our very souls. We are desperately trying to get the world to recognize our value, to give us a stamp of approval that we feel we cannot give ourselves. But the Stoic knows a secret that changes everything. Your value is fixed. It is inherent. It does not fluctuate with market conditions or public opinion. It is dependent on your character, not your reputation. Reputation is the opinion of others, and it can be bought, sold, manipulated, or destroyed by a single rumor. Character is the truth of who you are, the sum total of your choices, the integrity of your actions, and that is something only you can build or destroy. When you act as if you are the best, you stop asking the world for permission to exist. You stop begging for validation from people who do not know your struggles or your strengths. You stop seeking external confirmation of your worth because you become the source of your own validation. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That is the action. That is the embodiment. You don't talk about being the best, you act it. You live it in every decision, every conversation, every moment of silence, and every moment of crisis. And when you embody it, the world will treat you differently, not because you demanded it, not because you bullied others into submission, but because you radiate a frequency of unshakable self-worth, a quiet confidence that does not need to be loud to be felt. Now we must address the root cause of our feelings of inferiority. Why do we feel so small so often? It is because we play the comparison game relentlessly. We look at the success of others, their achievements, their relationships, their highlight reels, and we measure our own progress against theirs. We measure our behind-the-scenes struggles against their public victories. But Stoicism demands that we understand the dichotomy of control with absolute clarity. You cannot control the talents that others were born with. You cannot control their luck, their connections, their timing, or their opportunities. You cannot control their starting point in life, the privilege or hardship that shaped them. So why are you comparing yourself to a variable you cannot control? It is the height of irrationality. Theodore Roosevelt famously said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." But a Stoic would go further and say, comparison is the thief of purpose. When you say, he is better than me because he makes more money, you are committing a logical fallacy. You are comparing your internals, your self-doubt, your anxieties, your imposter syndrome, your hidden struggles, to their externals, their paycheck, their car, their title, their public persona. You are comparing an apple to a galaxy and wondering why the apple doesn't weigh the same. Social media is the primary engine of this destructive comparison. It is a highlight reel of other people's lives, carefully curated, artfully filtered, and often entirely fabricated. When you scroll through your feed, you are comparing your unedited, raw, messy reality to their blockbuster movie. It is an unwinnable fight, a battle you have already lost before you even begin. To act as if you are the best, you must stop looking sideways at what others are doing and start looking forward at where you are going. The only person you have to be better than is the person you were yesterday. That is your sole competitor. That is your only benchmark. Epictetus, with his characteristic bluntness, said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This is a powerful and liberating statement. If you are trying to become the best version of yourself, if you are actively working to improve your character and your discipline, people will misunderstand you. They will think your early mornings are weird. They will think your disciplined diet is obsessive. They will think your focus on your work is antisocial. They will think your refusal to engage in gossip or petty drama is arrogant and aloof. Let them think that. Let them misunderstand you. Acting as if you are the best means you are on a trajectory of growth, and that trajectory does not require the validation of the crowd. You don't have to win the race against everyone else. You just have to finish the race you started. You have to cross the finish line of your own potential. Stop asking, "How am I doing compared to him?" and start asking, "Am I living in accordance with my values? Am I acting with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance today?" If the answer is yes, you are the best. Not the best in the entire world, not the best in history, but the best version of you that can exist in this moment. And that is the highest achievement possible for any human being. Now, I know some of you might be thinking deeply and perhaps skeptically, doesn't this contradict humility? Isn't Stoicism supposed to be about being humble, about recognizing our smallness in the face of the universe? This is where the Stoic philosophy reveals its most beautiful and counterintuitive paradox. To act as if you are the best actually requires profound radical humility. False humility, the kind that is so common in our culture, is saying, "I am no one, I am worthless, I have nothing to offer." But think about what you are actually doing when you say that. If you say you are worthless, you are insulting the universe that created you, the cosmos that assembled your atoms into consciousness. If you say you are a worm, you are spitting in the face of your potential, your intellect, your capacity for love and creation. That is not humility. That is a form of arrogance and self-hatred disguised as modesty. The Stoic practice of humility is not about self-deprecation or shrinking yourself. It is about the recognition that you are a small part of a vast and magnificent whole, but a necessary part nonetheless. Think of the analogy of a hand in a body. A healthy hand does not look at the rest of the body and say, "I am the entire body. I am the most important part. Without me, nothing functions." That would be arrogance and delusion. But a healthy hand also does not say, "I am useless, I don't matter, I might as well be cut off." That would be ignorance and self-destruction. A healthy hand knows its role. It knows it can grip, it can build, it can create, it can heal, it can comfort. It acts with excellence in its role without needing to be the entire show. You are unique. There is no one on this planet with your exact combination of genetics, experiences, traumas, triumphs, and opportunities. To deny your own excellence, to suppress your own potential, is a disservice not only to yourself but to the entire universe that brought you into being. Humility, in the Stoic sense, is recognizing that while you are capable of great things, you are not the center of the universe. You have a duty to others. You have a responsibility to contribute to the whole. So acting as if you are the best is not saying, I am better than you. It is saying, I am responsible for me. I must live up to my potential. I must be the strongest, wisest, and most courageous person I can be, not for my own ego, not for my own glory, but so that I can serve the world, so that I can lift others, so that I can be a pillar of strength for those who are struggling. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." To waste your potential, to let your talents rot unused, to live a life of quiet desperation because you were too afraid to act as if you were worthy, is the greatest sin you can commit against yourself and against the world. Acting as if you are the best is an act of servant leadership. It is the recognition that the world needs you to be strong because the world is full of people who are weak and suffering. The world needs you to be wise because the world is full of confusion and lies. The world needs you to be courageous because the world is full of fear and tyranny. Don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Do not dim your light to avoid making others feel insecure. Rise so you can lift others. Shine so you can illuminate the path for those who are lost. So how do we do this practically? How do we actually embody this mindset in the messy, chaotic reality of our daily lives? Here are the practical exercises that the Stoics use to train their minds, and that you can use starting today to act as if you are the best. First, the practice of premeditation of adversity, known in Latin as Premeditatio Malorum. Every morning before the chaos of the day begins, take 5 minutes to visualize the worst that could happen. Your boss might fire you. Your spouse might leave you. Your business might fail spectacularly. Your health might decline. You might be publicly humiliated. Now, look at that scenario with a calm and steady gaze. Ask yourself this crucial question. If this happened, would my character be compromised? Would I be forced to act unjustly, cowardly, or unwisely? If your boss fires you, you can still be wise and kind in your response. You can still leave with dignity. If your business fails, you can still be courageous and disciplined in your recovery. You can still learn and grow. When you realize that no external event, no matter how devastating, can force you to be a bad person, you stop fearing those events. You stop being a slave to outcomes. You walk into the world knowing that you are immune to the worst it can throw at you. That is the confidence of the best. You aren't afraid of losing anything because your true value cannot be taken from you by any external force. Second, the practice of the view from above. This is a visualization technique that Marcus Aurelius used frequently. When you feel overwhelmed by the opinions of others, when the gossip feels crushing, when the criticism feels devastating, zoom out. Imagine yourself flying up above your city, above your country, above the entire planet, and seeing the earth as a tiny blue marble in the vast, infinite darkness of space. Your boss's harsh opinion of you, a speck of dust in the universe. Your coworker's gossip, a whisper in the void. Your anxieties about your social status, the briefest flicker of a dying star. This is not about being nihilistic or cynical. It is about gaining a perspective that liberates you from your self-importance. When you realize how small your problems are on a cosmic scale, you stop inflating them in your mind. You realize that the only thing that truly matters, the only thing that retains its significance in the face of the cosmos, is the integrity of your own mind, the quality of your own character. Act as if you are the best because you are the master of your own perspective, and perspective is the only thing that determines your experience of reality. Third, keep an inner scorecard. This is perhaps the most practical and powerful tool in the Stoic arsenal. Stop keeping score of the world's rewards. Stop counting likes, dollars, compliments, awards, and status symbols. Start keeping score of your virtues. At the end of each day, sit down with a journal, or simply in the silence of your own mind, and ask yourself these 4 questions. Did I act with wisdom today, or did I react impulsively and emotionally? Did I act justly, or did I cheat, lie, or manipulate to get what I wanted? Did I have the courage to do the hard thing, to have the difficult conversation, to face the uncomfortable truth? Or did I take the easy way out? Did I practice temperance? Or did I overindulge in food, drink, entertainment, or anger? If you can answer yes to the first part of those questions, if you can honestly say that you acted with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, then you won today. You were the best version of yourself today. That is all the validation you need. You don't need a trophy, a promotion, or a standing ovation. You have your own respect, and that is the only respect that truly matters. Fourth, practice Amor Fati, which translates to love of fate. This is the ultimate level of this mindset, the advanced class in Stoic living. Acting as if you are the best means welcoming everything that happens to you, even the painful, tragic, and frustrating parts. Why? Because it is the material for you to prove your virtue. It is the raw clay for you to sculpt your character. The obstacle becomes the way. The challenge becomes the stage. The insult becomes the opportunity to show patience. The failure becomes the opportunity to show resilience. The illness becomes the opportunity to show dignity. If you believe that no one is better than you, then you believe that you have the capacity to handle anything fate throws at you. Not easily, not without pain, but effectively, with grace and integrity. You believe that you are strong enough, wise enough, and courageous enough to meet every challenge as a worthy opponent. I want to leave you with a final challenge today. Right now, at this very moment, draw a line in the sand of your life. Make a decision. Stop waiting for the world to recognize your worth. Stop waiting for the promotion, the relationship, the recognition, the perfect moment to prove that you are valuable. You are valuable because you exist. You are valuable because you are a conscious being capable of choice. You are capable because you can think, you can reflect, and you can choose to act differently. Act as if you are the best. Put your shoulders back, lift your chin, walk with purpose, as if you have a destination that matters. Speak with conviction, as if your words have power. Listen with empathy, as if every person you meet has wisdom to offer. Act with integrity, as if your soul is being judged by the highest court in the universe. People will feel your energy. They will sense that you are not needy, that you are not desperately seeking their approval. They will sense that you are complete, that you are whole, that you do not require anything from them to feel secure. And when you are complete, when you are whole, you become magnetic. You become a person of influence. Not because you are trying to attract anyone, but because you are not repelling them with your insecurity, your desperation, or your smallness. No one is better than you, not because you are arrogant, not because you believe you are superior, but because you are sovereign. The Stoic emperor, alone in his tent on the frozen frontier, knew that the ultimate power is self-mastery. The slave-turned-teacher with his crippled leg and his broken body knew that freedom is a state of mind, not a legal status. You have been given one life, one mind, one soul. Treat it like the treasure it is. Do not squander it on comparison, on envy, on self-doubt, or on the desperate need for external validation. Stop comparing. Start becoming. Act as if you are the best, not because you are better than them, but because you are unwilling to be less than you. If you found value in this, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Join us in the pursuit of wisdom, the practice of virtue, and the cultivation of an unshakable mind. Hit the like button if you are ready to take control of your life, to stop being a victim of circumstance, and to start being the architect of your own character. Remember the two great Stoic reminders, memento mori. Remember that you will die, and Amor Fati, love your fate. Because when you remember that your time is finite, you stop wasting it on things that do not matter. And when you love your fate, you stop wishing for a different life and start living the one you have with excellence. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you believe. And you are worthy of the highest vision you hold for yourself. I'll see you in the next video.